Welcome to the Pretty Rich podcast, where every woman is the heroine of her own story. I'm Sheila Bella, and I built a $1 million beauty business from nothing. Maybe, if you listen enough, you'll start to believe that you can do it too. Because if the perfect job doesn't exist, you can create it. If the job you want isn't hiring you, you can unapologetically hire yourself. My aim for each episode is to equip you with empowering conversations on how to grow a lifestyle that's pretty rich in love, beauty, wellness, and of course, financial wealth. I'm Sheila Bella, beauty business coach, celebrity brow artist, microblading educator, entrepreneur, wife, mother, friend, daughter, and your forever positive beauty boss bestie. Let's go.
Hey y'all, welcome to Pretty Bridge Podcast, episode 8. I feel like one of those auctioneers guys. I'm really excited. I actually sat down on my chair, because you sit down on chairs. Yeah, sat down on my chair, put on my headphones, and put up the microphone, and was like, what? I get to podcast right now? Dude, this is awesome. Life is so awesome. I love podcasting, and I thank you guys so much for listening. Today's guest is going to blow your mind holes. Is that a thing? Okay, well, now it is. She's going to blow your mind holes. She will with her story. Oh, my God. She's going to... this guest is so open. I love it. Her wisdom. And if you look her up on Instagram, at Niyc Pidgeon, her beauty. Today's guest is, like I said, Niyc Pidgeon, author of the book Now Is Your Chance, which is pretty cool because the first letters of Now Is Your Chance is Niyc, which is the awesome way you spell her name, Niyc, Niyc, and Pigeon the way you would spell pigeon. So Niyc is just one of those humans that you just want to sit and talk to for hours, and I honestly could, and that's exactly what I did because I did her eyebrows. That is how this whole shindig today happened. She is a positive psychologist. Guys, that's a thing. Positive psychology. And she is the epitome of the thing. She's a speaker, author, and she travels all over the world. It's so much fun to stalk her on Instagram because of all of her travels. She travels all over the world, inspiring thousands of women who look to her for answers and inspiration. And now you guys, so lucky listening to this, will also get answers and inspiration. She is so open. She shares a lot about her past, how she was raped in Spain. She talks about that so bravely, and talks about some suicide around her. And it's crazy because all of this makes her message so much more profound and grounded because she has demonstrated with her own life that overcoming obstacles, overcoming darkness is absolutely possible. She is a prime example that you are not your circumstance. Let's dwell on that a little bit in case you don't believe me. You are not your circumstance. Say it out loud. You are not your circumstance. Say, I am not my circumstance. Saying it, affirming it really helps. Hey, I hope you're in the car and you're alone and you did that, because that would be less weird than if you were at the gym right now and you're like, I am not my circumstance. But don't worry, you might inspire the person next to you to do an extra rep. So more power, okay? All right. Before we get to the interview, though, I want to remind you to check out my online course, $1 Million Beauty Biz, which is for the beauty entrepreneur who's just getting started and needs guidance, somebody to hold their hand in branding, social media marketing, systems and setups. Or, hey, if you're just plain curious as to how I built my $1 million brand, send me a DM and I'll send you more information. My Instagram is @RealSheilaBella. Check out SheilaBella.com. Or you can email me, Sheila@SheilaBella.com. I also have other forms of mentorship that you can join. I have one-on-one coaching, and I have group coaching as well. So it's really important, you guys, that if you're an entrepreneur and something isn't working in your business, reach out. You don't have to do it alone, because what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they go to sleep with the problem, don't do anything about it, wake up to the same problem. So do something different, shake it up, reach out to me. I'm telling you, I am happy to help. I love helping. I'm eager to help you listening to this. All right, so back to the podcast, episode 8. Without further ado, oh wait, I gotta mention, Anthea is my co-host, right? She's awesome. She cries in this. God, I love it when she cries. She cries again. So I was making fun of her because like she's always crying on our podcast, but I'm always crying on my Instagram stories, so we're even. Check her out too, @officialanthea on Instagram. Okay, for real now. Without further ado, the incomparable Niyc Pidgeon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing, it's going to be amazing episode of Pretty Rich Podcast. I am here with Anthea.
What's up?
Girl, it is too early. But you were very loose this morning, Anthea.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll take that.
So today's guest, we are so excited to have Niyc Pidgeon.
Amazing.
Hey.
What's up? She's like my Oprah. Okay. Niyc Pidgeon is a positive psychologist, a certified high performance and success coach. She's a woman on a mission to help 1 million women change their lives using positive psychology by the year 2020. Woo! She has built a multiple 6-figure coaching business. She won Entrepreneur of the Year and is a Hay House best-selling author for her book, Now Is Your Chance. She holds a master's in science in applied positive psychology and a bachelor's in science in psychology with sports science.
She has overcome so much, you guys. She has helped over tens of thousands of women around the world and has a reach of more than 500,000 on social media. She has been appointed as a supporting partner at United Nations Women UK and as an ambassador for their One Bracelet campaign to end violence against women. She has been seen in Men's Health, Women's Health, BBC, The Times, Virgin Media, and Sky. She is from Newcastle, and now we're neighbors here in sunny Los Angeles. So y'all, let's welcome Niyc Pidgeon.
What?
Thank you so much. It's the best to be here.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to have you on here.
I'm so excited to be here. Like, thank you. Totally my honor.
So I met Niyc the way I do the best people, doing eyebrows.
Oh yeah. I was a hard case.
You are not a hard case. I feel like everybody says that who sits in my chair. Like, I'm the most, this is the worst, isn't it? I'm the worst you've ever had.
Love it.
No. So I seriously have the most amazing women in my chair, and she is such a boss babe, and I actually couldn't wait to have her on her show because her message is so in line with our pretty rich lifestyle. I was so happy when you agreed because you are seriously the real deal, girl.
Thank you. I've definitely worked very hard to be here. That's for sure.
I love that. And that's what I want to dive into. The work.
The real stuff.
The work that it took to get here, because I feel like most people would check out your Instagram and your social or look at you when you walk in a room and be like, wow, this girl has it like so easy. It just happened to her.
Mm.
But I can't wait to dive into your story. So,
Niyc, we want to start with a game that Sheila and I like to play every time we have a new guest. It's called
Fat Penguin 5.
Love it.
Do you get it?
I do not get it.
See?
Has it got anything to do with pigeon or just penguins?
No, Fat Penguin 5 because
it's an icebreaker.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh
That's a total dad joke.
I know. I know. Sheila is the only one that laughs at it. I'm like,
Love it.
what?
Yes,
Oh
I
my
like
God.
my
Anyway.
dads.
Oh
Love
my
dad
God.
jokes. Like Phil on Modern Family, he's like my hero.
100%.
Okay, it's a series of 5 questions to help our audience get to know you a little better.
Okay,
So
cool.
we're gonna start off easy.
Okay, so your favorite Starbucks order?
Are you ready for this? Okay, it is a double dirty coconut chai latte.
What?
Oh,
What?
yeah.
I have not. Yeah, I haven't tried that. You know what they say? They say there was like something on Instagram. It said like, if your Starbucks order is more than 4 words, then you're part of the problem.
High maintenance over here.
Oh my. So coconut, like you can, what is coconut? Like
So
coconut
coconut
milk? Is
milk,
that
yeah, with double
Oh.
dirty, which is a double shot of coffee in a chai
What?
latte.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So good.
That's hilarious. Okay, 2. A book you've recommended to a lot of people.
So this is an interesting one. It's probably not a book that you've heard of, but it's a book that I actually grabbed when I was 17 or 18. And I was traveling the world, and I was in Australia at the time. Kind of one of those cute coffee table books that has loads of gorgeous photos in it. It's called Girlosophy. So it's like a girl's guide to living life on your terms, and it's got lots of positive affirmations, quotes, really inspirational words in there. And that has literally stuck with me forever. Whilst it was so long ago, yeah, I still go back and I look at that still today.
Wow.
Girlosophy. Who wrote it?
I think she's called Anthea Paul. So it's not like a book as in like a novel or someone's story. It's just something that you have in your home. You know, when you take those cute Instagram shots of your stack of books, it's one of those.
Oh, so it's aesthetically pleasing too.
Exactly.
Not just
It's pretty.
I love it. I'm gonna look for it.
I feel like that would be a cute book to have out.
For sure.
We'll have to grab that and check it out.
Okay. So 3, Nick, what are you most grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for my awareness. So I'm grateful for my ability to see situations from a different and new perspective. I'm grateful to be able to notice the beauty and all of the awe-inspiring things all around. I feel like, because I speak a lot about happiness, a lot of people have their heads down and they're just rushing through life onto the next thing and onto the next thing. So I'm really grateful that I have the mindfulness and the awareness to actually soak in all of life, because you talk about like pretty rich podcast. Life is so rich. There's so much depth of experience that we can get. So that is something that I'm truly, truly grateful for.
Wow,
What
that's
a great answer.
Girl, you win. Yeah, like Jesus.
That's it. I quit.
That's it. That's
quit.
it. We have crown for you. Like you win. Walk the walkway.
So true, because you have the same 24-hour experience that everybody else has, but how much of it you soak in matters in your experience and how you view this life, you know, and we all got one shot. Question 4. So I love quotes. I'm like a quote collector. So what is your favorite quote? Do you have one for life?
I do. So is it allowed to be one that I created?
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I love to say that when you help others find their greatness, you will find greatness too.
And I'm crying.
Yay! It's so true though, right?
Yes, girl. Like, why am I emotional? Yes.
I'm sorry.
Say that again. Say that again so we can take that in.
When you help other people find their greatness, you will find greatness too.
It's so simple. It's so simple. So my husband is a high school teacher and he just loves it. And he was telling me a story yesterday. Like this quote. He was telling his students, he was like, you understand that you tell me that, you know, I'm changing your life. You understand that I'm here for selfish reasons. This is a win-win. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. I'm helping you, but seriously, you're also helping me. And he's telling this to his high school kids. So it's true. Like I totally feel that way when I inspire people. And I'm sure you had had an overwhelm of people telling you that for the last 2 days because you've been on this Boss Babes conference.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know, like, even if I'm up there on stage, just like your husband being at the front of the classroom teaching, you are always the teacher, but always the student too. So we sometimes teach what we
Yes.
most need to learn. And the sense of fulfillment that you can get from actually sharing and from hearing and learning from other people is so profound. It fills me up to actually have a room full of women and see them standing up, sharing, empowering themselves, asking the questions. And we all learn something too.
What does that feel like for you when you're standing up there and you see that sea of faces of women being impacted by your words? What does that
I
feel like?
love it. This is my favorite part of what I do. I used to be terrified of speaking when I was in high school, but because I was so scared of it, I know,
What?
right? But I ended up saying to my English teacher, I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to master this thing so I no longer feel scared. So he taught me how to feel confident when you're going up to speak at the front of the class or in like different scenarios and situations in high school. And
In
yeah,
high school.
exactly. So like a long time ago now, a good 15 years, which makes me feel old. But from that, I found my love for it. I've run my own events for the past 6 years. I get invited to speak on stages all around the world. So I'm speaking with Brendan Burchard. I've been invited to speak with Jack Canfield and DeMartini. And it's really awesome to be able to share your message in that way, because a room of people, it's so powerful to actually understand that you can share not just with one person on a coaching call, but 200 or 2,000 in a room. And the energy kind of
Yes.
takes over and they go out and they tell their friends. So they have that ripple effect that extends far and wide.
This is amazing. How did you get here?
So Nick, like what was like one advice that that coach like helped you like overcome like your fear?
And that was in high
So
school.
one of the
Yeah.
things that I really love is if you feel confused or overwhelmed, put some more structure into what you're doing. So whether this means time management within your day or whether it means structure within a talk, having that structure to actually rely on gives you a great sense of confidence. So I learned
Yes.
very quickly, like, to always introduce what you're going to talk about. So introduce what you're going to talk about and who you are. Then teach, let's say, 5 points and then do a recap at the end. And it's so basic. But if you look at things like talks, Facebook Lives, videos, you can use that same structure and you can apply it to so many different things nowadays. It's a really, really simple, easy way to remember.
That's great.
Wow,
That's
like
great
ahead
marketing
of the turn.
advice.
Yeah.
Really, because Facebook Live is the shiz right now. Yeah, that's great. Yes, very simple. And you see it everywhere in successful talks, whether it's a live, whether it's a YouTube video or an in-person talk. Yeah, that is the structure.
Totally. Gives you such confidence.
Awesome.
So Nick, like we are going to wrap up this Fat Penguin 5 with question 5. Like what is challenging to you right now? Like it seems like you have your life together, but and you are very honest with us. You're like, you're human and you're very vulnerable and you put yourself out there. What we'd like to know is what's challenging to you right now.
What is challenging to me and what comes up again and again on this entrepreneurial journey is actually energy. So I have this huge schedule which requires me to travel a lot and to hold space for a lot of women through the work that I do. So recently I ran an event in South Africa. I then led a 5-day retreat in Los Angeles, then a big live event in New York. We've got London and then flying to speak in San Fran, then going on safari with Sir Richard Branson and then back to LA to speak again. So all of that sounds glitzy and glamorous and exciting, but then you factor in jet lag, you factor in air conditioning, you factor in overcoming fears and being brave and creating emotional breakthroughs for people. And all of this requires a certain sense of energy, both physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. So for me, the challenge is always to get myself feeling as good as is possible in order to help other people feel that great
Oh
too.
my gosh. Yes. Yes. I relate.
And sometimes it doesn't work, because sometimes, for example, you come off stage from these big live events and you've had the best day ever. Like, I swear, every time I go on stage, it just gets better and better. The people in the audience are amazing. The people that come on the panel and we collaborate with are just the most amazing people. So I'm so grateful for those experiences. But it's like you have this high and you have all of the adrenaline and you've been working for months on these things. And the day afterwards, you're kind of like, it's like when you get back from a vacation, you're like, okay, what am I doing now? And you
Right.
feel really tired and depleted. So I've learned to schedule in a day off or a massage or something that really fills me up and gets me feeling vital again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you feel like content burnout sometimes?
It's not necessarily the content, because I know my content off by heart, but it's more,
Uh-huh.
I'm a real introvert, which you probably don't even realize.
What?
No.
Yeah,
Didn't get that at all.
totally crazy. So I love like checking into my hotel and just shutting the door on the world. And it might only mean that I need half an hour of downtime and then I'm good again, good to go. But when I'm around a lot of people, it's a lot of energy. So I just need those little
Oh,
moments of pause in between so I can get back at it
yes.
again.
Yes. People must be so vulnerable with you because you've been so vulnerable with
Mm,
with them, publicly.
mm,
So they must share
yeah.
things, that are intimate right away, and that can get, you know,
Mm,
that could drain you or
yeah.
take up a lot of your space.
Mm. Yeah, it's such a good point, and it's something I'm so grateful for, because there's a lot of men and women who have found their ability to actually have a voice around their
Mm,
challenges.
mm.
For example, when I was on stage at the weekend, I was speaking about when I'd gone through traumatic experiences and I'd been raped years earlier. And also, I had
Oh
the,
my
the
gosh.
suicide of one of my friends this year.
I'm
And
Oh
sorry.
my
last year, I
gosh.
had the suicide of one of my other friends. And 2 years before
Oh,
that, I had the suicide of one of my other friends. So I've lost three of my best friends in the last 4 years to
Oh
suicide.
my
So I was
goodness.
standing up. It's crazy, right? Crazy. So I tell these stories and I share these really emotional, challenging things from a place of having renewed sense of strength and power in myself and my mission and my vision, knowing that I want to do something in some capacity to help other people see that there is a different way and that you can find strength through the struggle.
Mm,
So that means that people come up to me afterwards and they're crying their eyes out and they're shaking and they're like, Nick, thank you so much. That happened to me too.
wow.
So if I can get over myself and I can get over my own fears and be brave and show up on stage, I know at least that I'm helping those people that really do need the help right now.
Wow. Wow. What? Yes. Yes, all of it. So when I look at your Instagram feed, you're the type of girl that a lot of people love to love. You're so positive. Everything's white and pink and bright colors.
Mhm.
And also there's, the haters probably love to hate you too because they're just jealous because they probably think your life is so perfect if they
right,
don't take
right.
time to read your captions. Trolls are
Yeah.
real. So no one is exempt, no matter how much money you make or how pretty you are. Um, but what people may not know if they've never heard you speak or have read any of your books is that the road to getting where you are today wasn't easy. You had a lot of setbacks. You said you were raped?
Mm. And I think that's one of the things that it's fascinating to me to see what other people's perceptions are of your brand, your business, yourself, your story.
Mm.
And I actually had somebody say, I've had two comments this year that have really stood out to be really interesting as an observation. I had someone say recently that they knew that I had a book, but they weren't interested in reading it because I had just done a degree at university and then graduated and wrote a book. So
Oh
what on
wow.
earth do I know? So I
What?
thought that was a comment from someone who hadn't even taken the opportunity to read it.
Right.
And if they had read the book, they would say it's actually a very different story. And I had another girl come up to me at a speaking event that I did for Hay House in England in March. And she came up to get a book signed in the book queue. And she said, you know what? I showed up this morning for this event and I really did not want to like you. I didn't want to like you. And you were my favorite person.
Wow.
I absolutely adore you.
Didn't
So
want to like you.
yeah,
Wow.
I know. So it's an invitation for us all to actually take a step back from our judgments, because we all judge people, but it's really having that open heart and that open mindset to understand with compassion that things might not always actually be the way that you first perceive them. And I know that that's been true for me. So with the rape that I experienced, and I sound like I talk about this so easily now. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Yes, I guess you do.
it-
How long ago did it happen and what happened?
so that was 2012, and it hasn't always been that it's been easy to talk about it. It's been a very step-by-step process of being able to share.
Mhm.
I was on holiday in Spain with some friends and some friends' parents. It was
Mhm.
kind of like my second home that I went to multiple times across the summer for a vacation.
Mhm.
We'd gone out for a big lunch, probably around 12 of us.
Okay.
And I was going to get a lift, and my friend was going to give me a ride to the airport. And she ended up having a few glasses of wine, and she said, do you mind getting a taxi or getting the bus instead? And I said, yeah, no worries at all. And one of the guys that we were with on the table actually said, there's no way that you're getting on a bus. I'll get a car to come and pick you up. So he called a driver or a taxi that he knew. And I left this lunch, got in what I thought was a taxi, but it actually wasn't a taxi. And I
Wow.
don't know what was going on, if this was something that they did a lot, but on that drive to the airport, there was a guy in the front and there was a guy in the back, and I was actually raped in the taxi on the way to the airport.
On the
Wow.
way to the airport?
Mm. Which is
So the driver was
the
was a
driver just kept on driving. I don't know whether it was something that, I mean, it sounds horrific that it's set up and it's like some sort of thing that they do as a regular thing, which is so terrifying. But when I went through my counseling, what I didn't really take into account is that when these kind of things happen, you're actually lucky to be alive. Like my counselor said to me, Nick, you could have
Mm.
been thrown out of the car on that mountainside and just
Mm.
left there. The fact
Mm.
is, you managed to get yourself out of the car. You managed to actually find someone that you could find comfort in, and you're
Mm.
still here to tell
Mm.
the story today, which is a really
Mhm.
amazing thing.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow, you served. So what happened after you got out of the car? You just went on the plane?
I was like crying my eyes out, obviously, and I
Of
went into
course.
the airport, and there was a girl there, and she looked at me. I don't even know who this girl was. She looked at me, and I literally just ran over and fell into
Wow.
her arms.
Oh my
I
goodness.
nearly broke down, and
Oh my goodness.
it was it, obviously it seems like a nightmare or a horror story, and now looking back on it, as well as it being like the most traumatic thing that I've ever had to go through, because I've done so much work on myself now, it kind of almost seems like a movie or a picture that I'm just looking at, or an observer, rather than it
Mm.
being something that is emotionally distressing for me now, because
Wow.
now I can see how much growth that experience has actually given me, in terms of my own trust in myself, in terms of forgiveness, in terms of finding gratitude on a soul level for that experience, which really allowed me to become so much of a stronger person because of it.
So there's a lot of like women speaking up. I had friends like contact and post things about like incidences that happened exactly or very similar to yours, and you're an ambassador for speaking up now for victims like that. Like
Yeah.
how, and now it took years for you to get here, but can you share like how does somebody that has experienced that speak up and start their healing, and not feel like they're alone, or like you in that moment you were like fell into that woman's arms at the airport because it just happened. Like how does one start that
Mm-hmm.
process?
Mm-hmm.
I think the important thing to remember is not to put any pressure on yourself
Mm,
to be okay with it straight away. I know that because I actually completely repressed the idea that that had ever happened for about 2 years.
mm,
So it's a type of post-traumatic stress disorder called rape trauma syndrome,
mhm,
where the first thing is complete denial that it ever happened. Then it's like you get the flashbacks and the hallucinations. So I actually started having like really vivid like pictures that were like intrusive thoughts. And then I hallucinated that there was a guy in my house. It was horrendous. So it's for me, it got worse before it got better. And I had to go through that time of not having a clue if I was ever going to feel okay again. And driving to therapy and crying my eyes out in the car on the way there, not knowing what I was going to say to the counselor, and not knowing how to articulate the way that I felt, other than
mm,
saying, I don't know what to do. Please tell me what to do. Tell me the steps and I'll put them into place. And she would sit there and she would say, Nick, I don't have the answers for you.
Yeah.
You've got to do this for yourself. So it was a case of taking one tiny little step in the right direction and then another tiny little step, until eventually I started to feel better, and I started to feel that I wasn't as upset, and I could find some sort of light and strength at the end of
Wow.
that tunnel.
Okay, so you really put in the work.
Yeah, for sure. And then it was a case of when I was out, like I didn't share anything at that time. I
For how
mean,
long?
I
For how
told
long?
my probably for a good at least six
Mm,
months while I was going through that. I told my partner, I told my spiritual
mm,
mentor, and I told my dad and my
mm.
mum, and that was it. Because the feeling that I had was that I didn't want anybody else to feel hurt by what had happened to
Oh,
me. So I was almost protecting my parents because I was so embarrassed and I felt so much shame, and I felt so heartbroken that they would feel so worried that I wasn't safe
yeah.
and that I'd gone through this
That I can
thing.
relate.
So yeah, I'm sure like as a mum, I'm sure you can.
Right.
And
So I'm I'm really curious, and this might be like a strange question, but I mean, when I hear stories of women getting raped, um, they are not at fault, clearly. So
mm,
if you can explain it to me, where does the shame come from? Because if anything, don't the I mean the aggressors aren't they the ones who should feel shame? I don't understand, like, in that mentality, like where
mm,
does that come from a rape victim? I've never been raped, thankfully, but if I ever were, I wonder how my body would feel, how I would react. So
Well, the way that I felt, it felt like when you put the dishes in the dishwasher and you switch it on, or you put your laundry in the washing machine and everything's just going around and around and around and around.
mm,
It felt like that,
mm,
like inside of my body. I felt like I was so like in this state of turmoil, and it was like a washing machine inside of my like stomach and inside of my body.
mhm.
oh,
And
wow.
I think that I was so scared at the time, because I figured that this must be some sort of criminal activity that was going on, and I was going to not be safe if I spoke out,
Uh,
and someone would come and do something to hurt me
yeah,
if I spoke out.
yeah.
So it was like a protective mechanism of fear.
Uh-huh.
And I remember my counselor, because when I was going through this therapy, I felt awful and I felt guilty for not then speaking out 2 years
Oh.
earlier, because of all of the other girls and women
Mm,
who could have been having the same experience.
mhm.
And
Mm,
she said, Nick, you didn't do anything wrong on that day, because you were with all of your friends and you were with their family and their parents, and nothing seemed abnormal. Like if there was something to be worried about, then your friends wouldn't have waved you off really happy in a taxi. They would have said, actually, do you know what? Something isn't right here. And you would have felt that something wasn't right.
Mm.
And it was only once I was actually inside that car that I had that intuitive
Wow.
kind of feeling that something wasn't really as it should be. So I think it's giving yourself the permission to take things as they are and say, okay, this has happened. Now I've got an opportunity to actually make it something that can help me grow, or make it something that holds me back for the rest of my life.
Mm.
So I knew from the work that I'd done in positive psychology that we always have a choice. So for me, whilst I knew that somewhere in the future I would be able to be okay about this, at that time it was something that I couldn't even face looking at.
Mhm.
But now, I mean, I've shared this on stage, I've shared it on podcasts, I've really thrown myself into the charity work that I do around this to help women escape domestic violence, human trafficking, and
Mm.
rape. And that
Yeah.
has given me a great sense of purpose,
Uh-huh.
I guess is the word.
So Nick, I have a question. It was like, it's like positive psychology, which I was like, babe, I was telling my fiance, I was like, it's a thing. It's a thing. I was like, see, like, you guys, oh my God, that's like seriously like an Oprah aha moment. I was like, what? Yes. Like a lot of people can like see it differently. They're like, oh, you just focus on the positive, and has like almost like a negative um, association with anything that is like
Yeah.
positive. It's just always just about like, yeah, you're just fluffing it up, or they're always just
Oh.
trying to like negate it in a way.
Like
Like,
burying it, maybe people misunderstand it
yeah,
for
Yeah,
burying stuff.
100%.
yeah, like, so, like, I literally had a friend that was really, really close to me just come up to me, like, called me, and he, like, yelled at me, like, because "Why aren't you doing this type of thing? Like, I'm passionate about it. Why aren't you passionate about it?" type thing, and I just kinda closed off, and he was like, um you are, all you do is like post positive, crap out there, and you're not really honest. And I shut down. I was on the floor crying. I was like, that's not the truth. Just like that girl that came up to you at the store, or at the book signing is like, I wanted to hate you. Like, how can you share with us like positive psychology, and like how you like the growth through that pain? Because girl, like, you've lived life, you've
Mhm,
had experiences,
mhm,
and
mhm.
now it is like you are now sharing the light. You are able to share that light. Like,
Mm.
can you please share
Yeah,
that light
of
now?
course.
Like,
So I
yes,
think
please.
that it's a really huge misconception of positive psychology that you need to be positive all of the time in order to feel good. So people think that
Hmm.
it's just like positive thinking and it's that fluffy stuff that you've mentioned. And I love being in LA, and I love like being at Whole Foods and everyone being like, have a beautiful day. I'm like, yes, I will. I love
I
that. I
Yeah.
will.
really love that.
I
But I
will.
think positive psychology is so much more than that. And the reason that it provides a breath of fresh air is because it's a proven science. So it is the study
Ah.
of happiness, it's the study of optimal functioning and how humans, communities, and businesses can thrive. So instead of looking at what's wrong with people, we look at what's right, and we look at human strength and virtue. So we
Hmm.
take where we're at right now, whether that is a place of struggle, whether we are experiencing anxiety or depression, or whether we're feeling pretty awesome today and in general, we take that as a baseline and we're like, right, what can you do to actually make yourself feel better more of the time? So we look at things, we look at the fluffy stuff. So we do look at meditation, we do look at positive affirmations, we do look at gratitude, but we actually test them. We run statistical experiments that prove in the numbers that this stuff is real and it really, really works.
Hmm.
Now, when your
Hmm.
friend is saying to you, the stuff that you put on Instagram, like that's not authentic or you're not in integrity, my invitation would be for everyone listening to actually look at whether you are living your life in alignment with your core values, and whether you are showing up online and in your relationships as that authentic version of yourself. Because what happened to me
Hmm.
when I was going through all of this struggle in 2014 2018
Mhm.
was that I felt like the positive psychologist that was being positive on the outside, but I felt like I was crumbling on the inside. So it was like
Mm.
I was trying to put something out in front that I wasn't necessarily feeling, and the divide between
Mhm.
who I wanted to be and who I was actually being became bigger and bigger. And with that, the pressure and the weight of that, it really weighs heavy on you. Now I know the
Of
value of
course.
being able to actually show up as myself. So the way that you hear me right now is the way that you will see me on stage, is the way that you will see me in the gym. And I feel like that is a huge blessing. So whether it's a something negative that's happened or you feel, or it's something really positive that you've experienced, always look for like,
Mhm.
how can that actually help my audience, or how can that help the people that are reading, listening, watching this thing? And a lot
Mhm.
of connection comes through challenge. So the more that you can say,
Mm.
I felt like I had a really bad day yesterday, and this is what I did to turn it around, and now I feel great again. The more people are going to understand, actually, she's not perfect. She's not positive all of the time, and she does have challenges and
Mhm.
hardships. And that makes me understand that I can actually feel better as well.
That's great. Yeah, there's a power in transparency.
For sure. We've got a responsibility for that now, I think.
Yes, it's a quote unquote trend, but it's an
Yeah.
awesome trend. I think you're like, I don't have it all together, girl. I'm learning. I'm like, I believe in that, and I think it's so
Trendy for a
therapeutic for
Yeah.
the yeah. We
If
all
you
need
see me
it for
after an
sure.
event, honestly, the day of the event, I'm like glorious, hair and makeup, killing it on stage. The day after, I'm like, oh my God, that was amazing, but I feel so tired. And I'm like this different person for like one day to the next. So we're all human. We've got to
Yes.
embrace both of those sides of ourselves.
Right, that's true. You like left it out on the stage. You like Beyonce did.
Yes.
Oh my oh my goodness. So Nick, where are you now? You're in New York, correct?
I'm in New York right now, yeah. So we've got a mastermind going on this week. And then I fly across to Europe. So we're doing an event in London next.
Oh my goodness. And how do you do it? Because you just got engaged.
Yes. So
Congratulations.
thank you. It's really happy news. So really good. Like I do miss him lots, but it's when I'm away, like I really need to be focused.
Uh-huh.
So if I look at the amount of spare time that I actually have on these trips, if Greg was here with me, it probably would be quite frustrating for us
Mm.
because there's not actually that many gaps and we could go out and enjoy things. Quite
Mhm.
often when you go on these trips, it's like you go from airport to hotel, you do
Mhm.
your
Oh wow.
work and then you leave and go back to the airport.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I still haven't seen the Statue of Liberty. So someone needs to show me.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Seen it in pictures.
Yeah, I've
Pictures
seen it
and
on
in
like
movies.
Friends.
Oh, you've seen it on Friends?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This has been so fulfilling already.
You are such an open book, and you find your power through the vulnerability that you're able to overcome a lot of your hurts and a lot of circumstances that happen to you. Like for this podcast, like I always want to know your intention. Like with people listening to this and people listening to you and getting to know Niyc Pidgeon
Mm.
as a woman, as a human, what is your intention for the women or men just listening to this podcast?
So my intention is for you to know your true power and to be able to harness that power to help you to rise. Whether that means for you working on yourself and mastering yourself through positive psychology or through spirituality, or whether it means for you taking the journey of entrepreneurship. I want
Mm.
everyone to know that there is a next level that's available when you decide
Mm.
to empower yourself to step into that.
Mm. Yeah. I'm just yes, right away. Yeah, I think I to add to that, you are proof that the next level exists.
Mhm.
It exists, and just knowing that it exists, especially since you're so transparent about your struggles and where you've come from. Somebody else can look at you and say like, "Hey, wow, oh my gosh, I've gone through that," and lo and behold, what I want exists. The next level exists. She's living, she's breathing, she's speaking. Her name is Niyc Pidgeon. And just the witnessing you is so empowering, because you demonstrate, and not just teach. You show us that, hey, that it's possible.
Thank you. That's such a beautiful compliment to receive. So thank you.
Oh, it's the truth. It's the truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There's a lot.
There's a lot. No, it's okay. I literally just want to pick your brain for 3 hours. And
Cool.
thank you.
I know I could be here all day.
I was like, oh my gosh. You're seriously. Okay. Just real quick, what is one advice that you would give to living a pretty rich life, like a well-rounded, fulfilled life through the eyes of Niyc Pidgeon?
Cool. I would recommend starting your day in the best possible way. So starting your day by actually gifting to yourself, just a little bit of time, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes, to do some sort of ritual or practice where you really honor who you are, all that you have, all that you have the power to create, and really sink into that gratitude in the morning. Find some sort of meditative practice, move your body, get connected, and really remember that together, when we work together, we can be, do, create, and have so much more.
Amazing. That is so in line with Anthea and I with the Pretty Rich podcast. We talk about morning routine all the time.
All the time. Because I just I used to get carried away with other people. I used to be like, oh, other people, other things, let me serve other other people's, first. Yeah. And I didn't have that chance to focus on me. And then I left depleted, I left exhausted. And I thank you. I love your book and your quote, and I'm crying again. The quote that you said about living, you can help people by. Okay, I'm done.
Tell me which one.
Literally, the one that you said, that was your quote.
When you help others find their greatness, you will find greatness too.
Yes, girl. What? Yes.
I knew the quote. I was waiting for you to get it out. She's going to put it together.
Yeah. No, I'm like, oh my God. Yes, I'm so tongue tied right now. But yeah, that is such a powerful thing, because we spend so many times trying to make a difference for ourselves and trying to be seen. And the way that you see it is help yourself heal, and all be aware with the power that you encompass and you hold within yourself, and then use that power to empower others. And then you can help so many people overcome so many things that they're not good enough, or they're not right enough, or they're just not good enough. And I love your message. I love your spirit. I love totally fangirling you again. And I'm crying. I just want to thank you for spending the time and talking to us, girl.
Thank you so much. I literally love you ladies. So thank you so much for having me.
You need to meet Anthea at your next touch up. I think that's the thing.
Thank you, Niyc.
Thank you so much, Niyc. There was so much here. I'm gonna listen to it again and write stuff down. Yep. Thank you.
See you soon.
Thanks, Niyc.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this podcast or were impacted by this at all, please share it with a friend, spread the love, screenshot it, post it on your stories, your feed, your timeline, and don't forget to tag me. I'd really love to see that. My Instagram is @RealSheilaBella. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. If you have any suggestions or questions for future episodes, I'd love to know what they are so I can make it happen for you guys and serve you better. Also, if you liked this discussion today, please take 30 seconds to leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. Your support would seriously rock my world, and I love to support my girls right back. Check out SheilaBella.com for show notes and more tips on how to live the pretty rich lifestyle. It's the best lifestyle, duh. Be blessed, you guys.